In today's lesson, we are going to be stepping into the shoes of a graphic designer to create ourselves a Facebook cover photo for the Noosa District State High School musical, which is Matilda. Now, as you're all aware, it did get postponed in 2020 and it's going to be pushed back to 2021. So we're going to make a little Facebook cover photo that can be used on the school Facebook page as a bit of an advertisement about when the musical will be coming up. Before we get started today, I just want to show you a few different Facebook cover photos of musicals, just to get a bit of an idea of how big they are and what they kind of look like. So as you can see here, we've got the Lion King musical Facebook page, and up the top here is their cover photo. It's just a photo, okay? It's pretty plain. It's a nice photo and all, but it's a pretty plain cover photo. I think we can do a little bit better than what they've done. Same with Jersey Boys, another good photo. A little bit of text up there, but again, a little bit boring. I don't mind this one, the Chicago musical cover photo. It's got a bit of text, it's got some cool colours, a nice photo as well. So I think we can do something a bit jazzy like that one. So before we do get underway in making our cover photo, I just want to show you my 5 tips on how to make an effective Facebook cover photo. So tip number 1, I'd like to see you using contrasting colours. So that simply means your background color should be the complete opposite to your text color. Okay, so an example of that is down here in the bottom of the screen. We've got a black background with white text on top. They're two completely opposite colors. And by having that dark background and light text on top, it makes the text really easy to read. And vice versa, down below that, you've got a white background, so a light color with dark text on top of that. And again, it makes the text really easy to read. So in your design, I'd like to see you use contrasting colors for the background and the text. So it makes your writing very easy to read for the viewers. Okay, here's an example of the Lion King. This is an old Facebook cover photo from them. You can see they've got a nice light yellow color in the background and dark red and black text and images on top of it. So those images and the text really stand out on that light colored background. Okay, so they've used contrast really well there. Tip number 2 is to use an easy to read font. Okay, you need to make sure that you choose a font that is easy to read on a computer screen and a mobile phone screen. So something like this fancy script font is going to be very difficult for viewers to read. Okay, it's going to take them a long time to understand what's going on in your message. But if you use a simple font like this one down the bottom here, you're going to get your message across a lot quicker to your viewers. Okay, so you choose a really simple font that doesn't take long to read and is easy to understand. If we have a look at this example here, we've got the Wicked musicals Facebook cover photo. Nice big text, simple colours, really easy to read. Okay, tip number 3 is to keep your text to a minimum. Okay, so as it says in point 1 here, we need to remember the age-old saying, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Okay, and that rings true for Facebook cover photos. We're more concerned with the picture rather than the text. This isn't a place to convey lots of written information. We only include the bare minimum, really important information on a cover photo. Okay, so we don't want to see long-winded sentences, just use short and sharp keywords. And this is an example of the Frozen musical Facebook cover photo. You can see they've really kept their wording to the absolute minimum. Okay, tip number 4 is to think mobile. And that simply means that most people these days will use their mobile phones to look at Facebook pages. So you need to make sure that your cover photo not only looks good on a desktop computer screen, but more importantly on a mobile phone screen. Okay, the way we do that is we leave lots of empty space around the left and the right hand sides of our design. So in this Mary Poppins design here, you can see all the main information is smack bang in the middle, and we've got a bit of empty space around the left and the right hand sides of the page. So it looks good on a desktop, but when our screen condenses and gets smaller, like on a mobile phone screen, all this stuff on the outside that gets cut away isn't really important anyway. The important stuff in the middle will still be seen. So if we have a look at this example here, I know it's got nothing to do with musicals, but this Cisco Facebook page has a nice big banner up the top here that they use on desktop websites, and it's got a lot of empty space around the left and the right hand side. When that screen is condensed onto a mobile phone screen, you can see that it chops away the outside areas on that cover photo, but it doesn't take away any important information. So the main part of the picture and the text are all still there. Okay, so that's a clever design. I'd like to see you leaving a little bit of space around the left and right hand sides of your Facebook cover photo when you make yours in a moment. And finally, just to sum up, this tip kind of just sums up everything we've already said. It's the KISS principle. All graphic designers know this KISS principle. It stands for keep it simple, stupid. Okay, so basically keep your design as simple as possible, because in the world of graphic design, less is always more. So pretty much one picture is all you need, a little bit of text, and you've got your cover photo made. So they're really easy designs to make. Okay, with all those tips under your belt, it is time to get started on making our cover photo. So what I need you to do is jump over to the Adobe Spark website. So that's spark.adobe.com. You will need to sign in with the accounts you should have already made. If you haven't made an account yet, just make one with your school email address. And once you are logged in, you should end up on a screen looking something similar to this. Now what we want to do, we don't want to make one of these projects here. We actually want to use the search bar at the top, and we want to search for Facebook cover and press enter. And then you'll get all these different designs that pop up. So you can go through the different Facebook cover designs and just choose a design that you think you might like to work with. Okay, I'm not too fussed on what you roll with today. I'm just going to choose something simple like this Hello March one here with a basketball on it. I'm actually going to delete everything on it and start from scratch. Okay, so I've clicked on it, I've selected create, it will just load it up now, and here's our design that we can work with. So as I said, I'm going to start from scratch, so I'm going to click on the text and simply press delete. Click on the images, get rid of them. The only thing I'm going to keep is the background. Okay, with that background, I'm just going to click on it once, and while it's selected, the color fill option comes up, and I've got all these different colors here that I can choose for a background. If you didn't want to have a colored background, you want to actually put a photo in the background, you can select an image over here to put in your background. But for this tutorial, I'm just going to use a solid color, and I'm going to go with a dark blue. Okay, so that's my background. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to load in a picture from Matilda the Musical. Now I jumped online onto Google Images and just found a few different pictures of Matilda the Musical. I don't mind this one here in the middle. It actually suits the blue that I'm going with. So over in Adobe Spark, what I'm going to get you to do now is click the add button, and you can add a photo to your design. I'm going to upload a photo because that Matilda one is saved on my computer, and I'm just going to click open. And I'm going to choose the move freely option, which will allow me to move the photo around the page. If you chose the other option, which was pinned to background, you could have a photo that filled up the entire background and it would be stuck in place. Okay, but I don't think that'd look very good in this case, so we're just going to upload this photo, and now you can move it around freely around the page. I'm going to put it on the left-hand side of my page, but keeping in mind one of those tips, remember we want to keep a bit of empty space down the left-hand side of the page, so don't put it right over on the edge. Okay, give yourself a bit of room. Move it more towards, I don't know, about this sort of area, a little bit more towards the center than on the left-hand edge. Okay, if you want to make it a little bit bigger, you just grab one of those handles on the outside and you can drag it up. You can see that pink line, the dashed line appears when I've got it right in the middle of the page. Those pink lines are known as guides, and they just guide you around the page. Okay, so that's my image. I'm just going to leave that sitting there for now. We can move it around a little bit later on. The next thing that we are going to add in is some text, and all the text I'm going to put in is going to be situated here on the right hand side of the page. So the first thing I might add in is the name of the musical, which is Matilda. So to add text in, simply go up to the add button here and select text. You can choose from one of the templates down here. There's some really cool templates already created for you. I'm not going to use one of them though. I'm just going to add my own text and do my own design. So I'm going to start by writing the word Matilda, making sure I've got a capital M. And first thing I'm going to do is get rid of this ugly background color. The way we do that is simply go to Shape, scroll to the top of that box and turn off the backing shape. Next thing I'm going to do is change color to white. I'm then going to go to the type, and I'm going to change my font family. The font I'm looking for is Good Dog New Regular. I think that looks kind of childish kind of font. It's still easy to read. It's pretty small at the moment. We want the name of the musical to really stand out, so I'm going to pretty much double that size up around the 200-ish point mark there. And I'm going to move it into position. Now if you want, you can add effects to your text. Outlines, cutouts, and all that sort of jazz. Different styles here. If you want to move this lever around, it'll give you different random styles. We don't want that though. Oops. What I'm going to play with is just the effects. I think I might try a shadow now. Shadows are a bit confusing to put on there. You can see it's thrown on a white shadow, so we need to go back and change the color. I'm just going to choose one of these suggested presets. I'll try this one here. That one is okay, I guess. Let's try a darker shadow. Yeah, I don't mind that there. So I'm just going to go with that preset there. So it's a white foreground color and a kind of mid-level blue color in the background. So if you click off it, it looks reasonably good. So I'm going to put that roughly in the center over here. And I'm going to add some text above and below it. So the next text I'm going to add is simply going to say NDSHS presents. So NDSHS, Noosa District State High School, presents. I probably don't need a capital P there. I'll lower that and click done. Now we don't want the same font for this. It's not as important, this little message here, as the name of the musical. So what we can do is tone this one right down. I'm going to change the font to something a little bit more simple, like Railway. I'm going to go to the effects and say none. I'm going to turn that shadow off. And I'm going to make it a lot smaller. So back in this type feature here, I'm just going to change the size. Probably bring that down fairly small, something around probably 35-ish. Look good. 37, that'll do for now. And I'm just going to set that up here for now. We'll move it around shortly to get it perfect. Once we've got NDSHS presents, what I might do is duplicate that by hitting this little duplicate button here with the plus sign on it. And I'm going to move this text down below Matilda. I'm going to double click on it and change the writing to the musical in capital letters. So we've now got Matilda the musical. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. I might even make that a wee bit smaller. Let's drop it down maybe to about 20. Yeah, 23 is probably a bit too small. Dragging, I'll type in 25. That's probably looking about the size I want. So Matilda the musical, that looks good. We also need to put in Roald Dahl's Matilda the musical. So let's add some more text. We'll add our own text again and we'll write Roald Dahl's name. So we'll just write Roald Dahl's and click on done. Now the font I'm going to use for this one is called Permanent Marker. And we're going to make this a lot smaller. We don't need it at size 131. I'll probably drop it down almost 100 pixels, I reckon. Around that 37 mark doesn't look too bad. So we've got Roald Dahl's Matilda the musical. That looks pretty good. The last thing I might add text-wise is saying something like coming 2021. So we know when the musical is actually on. So I'll add one last bit of text that says coming 2021. So that's pretty much next year. Now the font I want to use for that, again, not the one I'm currently on. I'm going to try this BBAS New Regular. And the size I'm going to run with, probably a bit smaller than what we've got for now, maybe around the 80-ish mark. 86, yeah, that doesn't look too bad. That looks pretty good. So an effect we can put on this, if we go to effects, let's try this cutout effect. That doesn't look too bad. The colors, let's have a look. Let's put a secondary color in there. Let's see if we can get some white happening. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. Coming 2021. Doesn't look too bad. That background color's a bit average. I wonder if we can change that a little bit. Let's maybe pick a darker blue. Black's not real flash. If we make it white actually, and then click on the text, make it blue. Yeah, that looks kind of cool. So let's roll with that. A white background, dark blue text on top. Now, if you think it's a little bit small, kind of is, I might make it a little bit bigger just to fill up the page here. If you want to align all these perfectly centered with one another, you've got to hold shift and click on them all, and you get this align option here. So we'll just center them horizontally. They're all perfectly in line with each other in the center. So now it's just a matter of moving them around until you've got them all in a nice position. You can click on them and use your arrow keys if you just want to nudge stuff around. I'm going to make that a little bit bigger. I think that looks pretty good. Okay, we've got enough room around the right hand side there and the left hand side, so we can use it on mobile phone screens, no worries. The other thing that is probably going to annoy you is this little watermark down the bottom here. You can remove this once on one document that you create, but if you want to remove it on other documents after you create this one, you will have to pay money, which we don't want to do. Okay, so you can either leave it there or you can click remove and remove it once. Some payment plan will come up, but just forget about that and just click on this get started for the free one. Okay, so that's basically our little Facebook cover photo all done. So to finish up, what you need to do is go to download, and we'll just keep it as a PNG file or a PNG file, and we'll click start download. We'll leave it as a solid color PNG, and you'll see it is downloaded down the bottom here. Okay, so you can click on that, show it in the folder, and you'll see your download. There it is over here. So if you double click on it, it will load up as an ordinary image, and you've got your Facebook cover photo looking pretty good. So make sure when you have finished, give it an appropriate name. So I'll just call it Matilda FB cover. And I'll be saving that into my appropriate folders in my documents. Okay, so that's how you create yourself a fairly decent looking Facebook cover photo using Adobe Spark. Just one last thing before I forget, I nearly did. You don't have to have your design looking like this. By all means, you can copy my design, which is okay, but I'd like to see you get a little bit more creative. Have a good play around with some of the tools that Adobe Spark has on offer. You've got all these different layouts here that you can use. You can use completely different colors to what I'm using. You've got different designs, you've got different layouts. You've got all sorts of cool different features that you can play around with here. You've got all these different fonts and effects and styles. So go nuts, make it look really cool. Just remember those 5 tips that I covered at the start of the lesson while you're doing it. Okay, so have fun. Make sure when you finish, you download it as a PNG file, save it into your account, and let your teacher know when you are finished.